welcome to my channel, and I'm going to talk today about food cravings. This is a subject that I think is very, very important on why people get food cravings and how to get rid of these cravings, how to banish these food cravings, and why do some people get them so strongly? Well, we all come from different backgrounds. Some people might have been somebody who lived on fast and processed foods for years, and they want to make a change, a drastic change, and they want to go on a plant-based diet. There are some people who were like me, who was more vegetarian, pescatarian, on and off for years, and mostly I ate a lot of vegetables and things like that. Some cooked, some raw and whatnot, but I still had a lot of issues going on. And, you know, so it doesn't matter one way or the other where you came from. The point of the matter is that when the gut bacteria is not used to certain foods, you're going to crave those foods in which we were eating before. And it's going to take a while to change those cravings. So one of the ways that you can change those cravings is by doing more fasting. And I know people will say, well, why would I want to fast when I feel so hungry? Well, there is a little bit of a struggle sometimes to get where you want to get, but it does get better. And fasting has a way of getting your body used to not eating as much, getting used to getting rid of some of the things in your body, healing. Going through a certain process like this can really, really help a lot in the long term. Also, I think that people don't realize that they're missing so many things in their diet that they don't realize, and they think that they're hungry for other things, when in turn this is really a deficiency in certain minerals. And so how can we get certain minerals in our body? You know, through foods, through plants. People think that you can't get iron, you can't get different things that you can get from animals through plants, but actually there are a lot of plants that have a lot of iron and a lot of other minerals in it. And the reason I'm mentioning iron is because I've seen a lot in the controversy between carnivore and vegans not having enough iron. Vegans don't have enough iron. Well, it really depends on what you're eating. And it also depends on the fact that if you're not absorbing these minerals, which is why I talk a lot about fasting, and I'm going to get into a little bit more about different kinds of fasts. But these minerals are so important. Eating the greens that really make a difference. Now, when you go to the grocery store, I'm not saying that you can't find some greens like kale, and if you go to your local co-ops and better grocery stores that have a lot of organic, sometimes around here we can find some of the more local stuff, which is good. I have a lot of that here where I am, and that helps. And I do grow things in the summertime, but in the winter months I don't really get to grow things like kale. And this is why it's so important to be eating more things like herbs, things like parsley and cilantro. And things like dandelion greens and sprouting sunflower sprouts. Sprouting your own sunflower sprouts. The reason why I think things like this are so important is because I don't really feel like people get enough from the grocery store foods if they're not really looking for things like herbs, and they're not doing some sprouting and getting some of these trace minerals. And the thing with the things like herbs and sprouts and things is that you can grow your own, and you know where it's coming from, and you know that it's not been sitting on the shelf for so long. And this has a lot to do with a lot of things. I feel that this is really, really an important thing, because if you are missing these certain minerals, your body will continue to crave things, because a lot of times you think you're hungry for certain things, but it's really that deficiency that you're missing. And I found out that I was a little low on iron sometimes, and that's why I always craved things like kale. And another thing that's really good that has stuff like iron and everything in it is the ends of your beet leaves and stuff like that. It also has a lot of minerals, and it's just things like that would really, really satiate me for some reason. And I think it's because I was lacking certain things, and I just think that these things are so important that you're getting enough of these type of minerals, and that can really help. But also, if you are not completely cleaned out in your body, meaning if you have not done some kind of juice fast, and you have not really released enough of a lot of the buildup in the GI tract and things, a lot of times you are still dealing with old bacteria that is still, gut bacteria, it's still in your gut. And so your gut is still telling you that you're hungry for these certain foods. And this is why I specify this one so strongly about juice fasting. And it's not because I'm a big, huge juice fasting queen or anything like that, because I really don't believe in juice fasting year after year and all these juice fasts over and over. I think that one good juice fast is really all that you need. And if you get one good juice fast when you start your raw vegan journey, or any time in your raw vegan journey, some people may not be able to do that at some point, and some people have been on a raw vegan diet for a couple of years, like myself, before I really went on a juice fast. And I was doing a lot of other fasts in between my raw vegan diet before I ever went on a juice fast. But I think that these things help so much, because when I did that juice fast, I found out that I still, even though I went through getting rid of parasites, and I went through liver cleanses and all kinds of things, and water fasts and everything, I still had mucoid plaque. And mucoid plaque buildup isn't a joke. It's a real thing, and it's something that when that stuff is built up in the walls of the colon and everything, it's not, you're not really able to absorb the minerals as much, and you will constantly still have certain cravings. And I found that when I was doing the juice fast, I was craving things that I didn't normally crave. And I think that it's because a lot of that old bacteria is coming out. And I think that that is a key thing. I can't specify enough to go on some kind of a juice fast. And so last year at this time, I actually was just getting through with the juice fast. I started off with the intentions of doing a 45-day. Also did do enemas during this time, and I think that that's really important, because a lot of that stuff is you're not able to move it on your own, and that's going to help you to remove some of this stuff like the mucoid plaque and a lot of the other stuff that's built up on the walls in the intestines and in the colon and things. And so you can also get colonics. And I went to a hydrotherapist that I have, and I have a video that I did on that. And I did that during my 70-day juice fast. I went 3 times. I was extremely surprised at, I know this is a gross thing, but what came out, it's absolutely amazing what is built up in the human body. And people would ask me, how, Laura, all these years you ate fairly healthy, how did you have that much stuff built up inside of you? Well, the thing of it is that I feel that if you do not do some kind of juice fasting, there is stuff built up in there from the time that you were a child and the things that you were eating when you were a kid. That hot dog that you ate when you were 5 years old at a carnival. anything that you ate from the time you were born up until this point is caught up in your body. And to think about all that stuff, when you really think about trying to absorb, it's really hard to absorb your nutrients when you have all that. So you start to feel better, and when you start to feel better after you do these things, it's amazing how the cravings just kind of vanish. And that's kind of what happened to me, and they especially vanished for me with the sugar cravings when I got rid of parasites. Because parasites, if you have those, which is another thing about juice fasting, if you have things like parasites and you have things that are happening in the body that you wouldn't even know about sometimes, that juice fasting will help with a lot of that, because it kind of starves them off without even having to use the cleanses and things like that that help to fight off parasites, like coconut oil and walnut and things like that. So cloves, garlic cloves, they don't like garlic cloves, things like that. So a lot of the pills that you would take would have that stuff in it. But these are things that are important, because if you have parasites or anything like that in your body, they will be eating all of your good nutrients, and you will be craving sugar all the time. So I feel like this is a very, very key thing. I don't think that this is something to take lightly. I think it is the whole key to success, is to do these things so that you can get into this lifestyle and you can enjoy the foods, start to crave these foods, and start to get rid of a lot of these things that you're hanging on to in the body that are making you want to eat these horrible things that are doing your body damage. So these are my suggestions. And you know, another thing that has always helped me is that I think that when your body is alkaline, and I think that it's kind of like a suppressant, but drinking some apple cider vinegar, and make sure that you drink apple cider vinegar daily. And I usually do it in my water. It's not good for your esophagus if you just, glug down I've seen people do that, and it's really not good for your esophagus. But I think that apple cider vinegar every day is really, really important too. And I think that that can help along, because it does kind of suppress your appetite. It does help you to stay alkaline, and I think that it'll help you along cravings. So another really important thing is also that you make sure that you're getting enough of your fats and the lipids that your body needs. This is important too. And you can eat dates and you can eat bananas and things like that, but sometimes they're more helpful if you're eating dates in things like your smoothies, and start really packing some things into your smoothies. I know some people say, oh, I hate to have smoothies and they're gross and things, but I think that smoothies are really good for people, especially that are starting on raw vegan lifestyle and they want to banish cravings, because I think that you could put a lot of things in there, like pack some dates in there. And dates have lots of iron. They're really, really good for you. They're loaded with fiber and things like raisins have iron and stuff like that. And I think that even though I don't advocate eating tons and tons of dry fruit, like just sitting there eating one date after another, because this can really kind of lead to binding you up to, and you're trying to release things. But I think that adding these to your smoothies and packing some greens into your smoothies and things, so that you're getting a lot of those fatty acids along with all of the minerals and things like that, that I think that can really help too, to kind of fill you up. I know smoothies really help me to stay full for a long period of time, and to make sure that you're eating enough calories. That's something that I think that there's a lot of these controversial things out there about vegans being underweight and not eating enough calories and things. Well, I eat plenty of calories, and I always have. I've never been somebody to try to starve myself. I eat as much as I want to eat. I try to watch my fat to a certain degree, but I don't think that when you are starting in on a raw vegan diet, if you are trying to banish cravings, that you should be counting so many calories and worrying all the time about fat. I think that you should try your best to make sure that you're getting enough of everything, and try to pay attention to all these little things, and it will help you on your way to vanishing these cravings for good, so that you start craving the good things that your body really needs, and the things that are going to actually give you the skin glow and the happy feelings and to feel good all the time. And this is what we're trying to get to, and to not feel like we're deprived of foods and we're starving all the time, because that's not how we want to feel. We don't want to be hungry. It's not comfortable to be hungry. It's not comfortable to feel like you're not getting enough. So I think focusing on these things, and I have some videos that I talk about things on a budget too, where sometimes, people can't afford things like cashew nuts all the time, and all of these expensive nuts, walnuts, almonds, and everything, and how there's inexpensive ways of making things like hemp milk, coconut milk, and adding a lot of things to these things like the dates and bananas and stuff. And you can afford to, if you don't eat a whole thing of dates in a day and you just put a couple into your smoothies, you can make them last a longer time. And this way here, you're getting kind of a variety of everything. If you use sesame seeds, you can make lots of really good dressings with just sesame seeds, which are about $6.99 for a big thing of them, and they'll last you forever without having to buy all the nut butters and things. And it is important, even though you don't want to eat a lot of these things in excess, it is important to get enough of all these things in conjunction to one another to where you feel satisfied. So I hope this helps somebody, and I'm just going to go ahead and read today. And this is out of Revelation, and it is chapter 12, verse 11. And it says, "They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives to the death." So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful, blessed day.